Welcome to Brunch with Besties podcast.
Hey guys,
I am Sherry Renee.
and I'm Chanel.
Today we have a special guest here with us.
We do.
We have the Podfather himself.
Yes.
Burr, 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 burr.
Yeah, we got it for real this time.
I appreciate that.
Yes, we had to do the horn for the Podfather himself. He is
We
here.
have the Podfather. Keith GoodNews is here with us today.
Thank y'all for having me,
Yes,
man.
welcome.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about, the whole vision behind the Good News radio station
Yes.
and what got you here.
Yes.
So
Man.
our mission is to heal and help others as we heal and help ourselves through purpose-driven conversations. Before we get into our content with Keith, we're going to start like we always do with a toast. So I'm going to start with my bestie.
Okay.
Bestie, who are you toasting to? That sounded like Betsy.
Right. So bad. I'm gonna give my toast. Yesterday was Self-Care Sunday and it was much needed. Oh man, we needed Self-Care Sunday. But it was really great. My besties, Sherry Renee and Nadia and Scarlett, they surprised me with some centennial gifts. So if you all haven't listened or learned, I'm a Zeta. You have to be under a rock if you don't know that. But in any case,
She has on a Zeta shirt.
I have on my Zeta shirt. Shout out to
I
Soror
got a
Besties.
fitness shirt on.
And my frat brother is here. Okay, it's a blue and white day on the show. Love it. But they surprised me with a bunch of centennial gifts, and I was so surprised. Like I feel like I'm not an easy person to surprise. Like I'm listening or I'm like trying to figure stuff out. But they got me good. I had no idea. Shout out to Nadia's husband Miles who dropped it off, and I'm like, who at my door? Like, what's happening right now?
Who's that?
Yes.
knocking?
But it was a wonderful bag filled with wine and chips, which are my favorite. If you watch the Bestie Challenge, you know I like chips. And red wine. So thank y'all. It was really tight. I was like, wow, this is great.
Absolutely. And shout out to Ryan too. 'cause
Yes, and Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ryan came through as well.
Yay,
And
yes.
I'm just gonna throw in that I do have on an AKA shirt, just to sprinkle just
I
a
was
tinge
gonna- I was
of Beacon
gonna-
green
I was
in
gonna
there.
give it- yeah, I was gonna give it to you.
I was like, it's a little bit too much blue going on. No, I'm just playing.
Don't be hating. It's a blue and white
No,
day
but
today.
I mean, it is a big year.
Yes.
100 years is no easy feat. The
For
Zetas
sure.
are finer women.
There we go.
It has
You
been
know.
100 years. It's a huge milestone.
Yeah.
And if it weren't
Yeah.
for the pandemic, y'all would have been getting y'all
Best
life.
Absolute best life. But
at Boulay.
so
So some of y'all were still getting y'all best life anyway. They said we're going to get our best life wherever we are.
They were sprinkling it in. I'm thank God that in Wisconsin we had a celebration in January, like prior to everything like happening. And we got our entire life at our centennial celebration here, and it was great. But it's still 2020. We're gonna take it for what it is and still celebrate. So thank y'all for doing that for me. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Ryan, Sherry, Scarlett, and Nadia, and Miles,
And Miles.
who's also a Sigma. So shout out to my frat brother.
We gonna edit that part out. I'm just playing. No, but shouts out to Miles because if he wouldn't have came through, we wouldn't have been able to do it because we all had to be present on the call.
Yeah.
So he kind of
figured it out.
He brought the whole thing together, and
did.
I'm glad that you didn't know because I actually accidentally put the wrong thing in the group chat and you just missed it. And I literally was like, "Oops, wrong chat." And I was like, "She don't read text, no way." So she just ain't gonna see it.
Clearly,
But I literally did that, and like literally every single day, Nadia was like, "Make sure you're in the right chat. Make sure you're in the right chat." Because I be
Yes.
talking to her, and she'll say something. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna put that in it." I'm put that in, and she be like, "Put it in the right one."
So bad.
So
Oh my
your
God.
girl had butterfingers on a couple occasions, but you just didn't catch it.
Hey, I don't be reading. It's okay. There we go.
Keith GoodNews Podfather. Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are you giving your toast to today?
I'm gonna give my toast to TGN Sports
Okay.
because TGN Sports is they've been a part of what we've been doing for a year. We started them over a year ago, and they've been growing, and they got some really good sports shows over there to the point where honestly, I'll put any of our shows up against any major sports, Fox, CBS. Honestly, any of our guys, any of our shows could be right up next to them. Like I really put our shows up there with them. So I want to give my toast to and my shout out to TGN Sports because they've been over there putting in mad work, consistent work, and I think that their time is coming.
Okay.
You know what? I've been trying to like literally listen to all the podcasts and everything, and I was like, okay, I gotta listen to sports because they part of the network.
Mhm.
Right.
So I just drop in, right, just to listen. I don't comment because I don't know what they're really talking about because I'm just not into sports like that anymore.
Of course. Yeah, of
But
course.
I have to say, they legit sound like a straight up like everything is so tight what they do. Like
Yeah.
it was actually Courtside that I
Okay.
listened to, I think, the most. And I was just like, dude, like just listening to how they do stuff. I think that if we all listened, we
Yeah.
might have some really good takeaways from just the way that they do it. Cause like I was like, am I in the right thing? Because this sound like, like I'm listening to like Shaq and them or so, you know what I
That's
mean?
what's
Yeah,
up.
no,
Like that's how
definitely.
good their stuff sounds. So I would echo that same sentiment and say that they
Appreciate
sound
that.
legit.
Appreciate that. And you know what? And we hold those sports shows to the same standard that we hold our talk shows. Like nobody's a joke. Everybody's
Yeah.
100% legit and serious and passionate about what they do. So yeah, I just wanted to give them a shout out because they've been doing a good job over there.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Shout
shouts
out.
out to Profanity Nation
Profanity
Profanity.
Nation, yeah,
Yes.
man.
because they
You get a
came in
pat
with
on
the heat too, right out
yeah,
the
Yeah.
man.
box.
Everybody come. We all, man. Everybody strapped. You know what it is. Brunch with Besties strapped. We ready. We all got the heat. We ready.
We
No
ready. I
time. No
love
time.
it.
Everybody strapped. All
Yeah.
right, so now we are gonna
Oh
break
no, who
bread.
you giving your toast to?
Oh dang, I gotta talk.
I mean,
Profanity Nation.
there we go. Okay. I
All right.
mean,
No, but
Yeah.
honestly, my toast goes to Sora Besties because
Okay.
those ladies sent us some amazing
They
Terry. If
did.
you guys can see
No, gotta move
the blue and whites and the pink and green. So yes,
I'm just trying to help out. I'm just trying to help
Hey,
out.
okay.
well, that's a shout out to Sora Besties that they need to get some men, Perry, for the men besties,
There you go.
frat besties. I don't know.
But yeah, but my toast goes to them because those ladies sent us some
Absolutely.
beautiful merchandise. So shouts out to those ladies.
Yay.
So now it is time to break bread and check in. So we're gonna start with my bestie. How are you doing, Chanel?
Well, I feel like last week after talking to Willis, I was very emotional and just like, oh my God, what is happening in the world? There's just a lot going on. Like I said earlier, we did Self-Care Sunday yesterday, and it left me like feeling really grateful and proud of my friends and proud to be a Black woman. So I'm feeling a little better. Today was the first day of school, and I was just all over the place because I'm the fake IT person at work now, I guess. So I was doing a lot of like tech issues and troubleshooting and things like that, like all day. But yeah, it's all good. So I feel like I'm in a better space today. But I will say continue to pray for just Black people in general. It's a lot going on, man.
A lot
So that's
going
where I
on.
am. Yeah.
Podfather Keith GoodNews. How are you doing?
Yes.
I'm doing better than I was yesterday. And I
Good.
guess that's the best answer anybody could give.
Mhm.
I know like a couple of weeks ago, I was definitely going through like a transition, I would like to say. I felt like I was in a cocoon, I had to be in that cocoon to turn into the butterfly, to turn into what I needed to be next, for the next version of myself, So now I feel bigger than ever. I
Mm.
feel great. I feel like I learned so much about me and myself. So I can say I'm definitely way more in tune. I really feel in tune. I really, really feel in tune, and it feels great to be in tune.
Good. I'm
Awesome.
glad to hear that.
Shouts out to the people in the chat. Momo 800 said all the podcasts are awesome.
Okay.
Jazz
See,
joined
that's what
in.
I'm
She
talking
said,
about.
hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
The
got
new
love.
Black History Maker. She was with us last week.
Yes. Awesome.
Make sure you check out her podcast
Yes.
on all streaming platforms.
There we go.
That's love right there. That's what I'm
Beats
talking
Black. Okay. All right.
Lotus Hustle chimed in. She said, love y'all. And you know what? We was
Aw.
just talking about Ladies Night
Yes.
literally before
about.
Lotus
Before the
Hustle
show.
joined. So make sure you catch them.
Yes. Love them. Love you,
Ladies
Lotus Hustle.
Night,
Yes.
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yes. 7:30. Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time.
We're going to fix that on the next app. Don't worry about it. We fix
Right.
it.
There we go. New app coming. But what's going on with
But
Sherry Renee?
you know what? Today is Monday. Like you said, we did Self-Care Sunday. That left me feeling great. I had a jam-packed weekend. I felt like I was more active this weekend than I have been all year. So your girl was tired. Today I listened to the hearing of Michael Mattioli, who is the murderer of Joel Acevedo, who was brutally killed by strangulation for 10 minutes by an off-duty police officer who is, again, Michael Mattioli. And honestly, I did not like what I heard. I was listening to his lawyer and I was like, what? But the judge was Black. And so, you know, when he was trying to, you know, object, he was like, what's your reason? And he was like, I just object. And he was like, nope,
not in my court, right?
Not today,
not in my court.
But I have faith that justice will be served. So
Amen.
I'm choosing to have faith today.
There we go.
That's where I am. So now it is time for the tip.
All right.
This episode is brought to you by Audible. Read along with us for free using our free 30-day Audible trial. www.audibletrial.com/BWB. BWB is in Brunch with Besties. Right now, we are reading The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration and the Age of Colorblindness by Michelle Alexander. Again, read along with us for free for 30 days. www.audibletrial.com/BWB. BWB is in Brunch with Besties. The link is always in our show notes. It's also on our Instagram at BrunchWithBestiespodcast. Please click the link in our bio.
So Podfather Keith GoodNews, entrepreneur, creator, originator, establisher,
visionary,
incorporator,
oracle, like it's so many names.
The one who envisioned the Good News, but first it was a podcast and then eventually it became a network. Let's first start off with some stats, just in case people were sleeping under a rock and they missed who you were. Can you tell us how old you are?
I'm 31 years old. I'll be 32 in November.
Okay. Scorpio?
I'm on the borderline, 22nd. So, you know, it all depends on what year it is for me.
Yeah.
You're on the cusp?
You're on the cusp.
I'm on the cusp.
You seem more like a Sagittarius anyway, so I'm just going to pick that.
Whenever it's beneficial, I'm either one.
He's like, I'm whatever I need to be. How about that?
I got the benefit, you know.
That is funny.
So first, you know, you started off with a mic and a dream. Like what was the original need that you were trying to fill, right? So whenever people create something, it's usually because they think something doesn't exist and they want to either add to something, right? They're either looking to add to a conversation or they're looking to create something to fill a need.
Hey, that's deep. Man, that's the best way anybody's ever asked me that question. You know,
we're great at what we do.
Yeah,
I just want to throw out there that, you know,
way more
Jackie,
credit than y'all get. Y'all deserve way more credit than y'all get.
Jackie did say, Jackie from Ladies Night, she did say that we are the Oprah of the Good News.
Hey, and that's right on. Listen, man, y'all been the Oprah, y'all been the smooth jazz, y'all have gotten all the
yeah, they did say we were like smooth jazz. That's hilarious.
But you know, actually I didn't even start with a mic actually at all. You know, my first show was out of my bedroom and I would actually call in on my phone and I would use my phone as my microphone. And it was like a conference call number where people can actually use their phone to call in and listen, or they could it was like this little link that they could listen on their phone. But that was it. That's how I started at my bedroom. And that came from, I used to read way more than I read now. I read, you know, enough to say that I read, but I used to really be heavy into self-help. And I think that's what helped me develop the mentality I need now. And so I was like, well, you know, I got all this knowledge. I'm gonna start sharing it with people. I'll be something like a life coach, you know. So I actually started gathering clients, actually, believe it or not. And I had like 3, and I was like, this is way too much investment in other people's life. Like I cannot do this. So I was
like, I want to help, but not that much.
No, I can't do it. No, I'm driving this traffic, you know, and I got a baby, so I'm like this. I'm too involved in other people's life, and I'm not involved in my own. So I need to make this easier. So I said, hey, well, you know, in grad school, I did this. One of my projects was to do a radio show. We had to do 3 of them and submit them.
What did you study? Yeah, what did you study in undergrad and also for graduate?
Both communication. So that's why I'm the Podfather MA, because I have a master's degree.
Okay, you better add your letters at the
letters behind that. Go ahead.
I really do this. You know, I really studied this.
Listen, you ain't wrong.
But yeah, you know, I did 7 years straight. I never stopped. I just went straight through school and got my master's degree. And you know, that taught me a whole bunch of philosophy. But anyways, in grad school, I had to do this project. And to this day, I still go talk to that professor and tell her that because of her class, it was a Black professor, and because of her class, it was the first, I can say, lens to what I was going to be doing or deciding to do for the rest of my life, you know. and I didn't even know it at the time. But I reverted back to that, years later. And I remember the website. I remember the website. I can do like a 30-minute radio show. And I literally, just never stopped after that. I just kept going and things happened. But that's how I started.
So your intent was, I'm going to share the knowledge that I've acquired. I'm going to help people.
That's
the
it.
first aim was to be a life coach. And then you was like, y'all taking too much out of me.
Yeah. And
How about I'm just going to throw the information out there. Y'all can grab it if you want.
Right. Catch it.
That's
Take
it.
what you want, leave what you don't want, move on.
Well, by that time I already had developed a kind of like a reputation of like having good advice. Like people will often call me, or just like, I recognized I was kind of like a motivational person, based on who I was. So I was like, hey, I'll just kind of give this. I mean, it's literally like what I do now with Monday Morning, but I was nowhere near as developed as I am now. It was. I hope y'all never find those episodes.
Oh, we gonna find them.
Oh, we gonna drop clips.
We gonna find it. Facebook is forever.
Yeah. Right. So, but that was it. That's how I started, and that's where it all began, out of my bedroom.
So then, what was the plan?
There was no plan. The plan was to just go until I figured something out. I like doing it. It was easy for me to do once a week. So, I just kind of just did 30 minutes. And then I think when I was doing it for 6 months, I told myself, okay, Keith, you've been doing this for 6 months. Like what's going to happen? Are you going to like go after this, or just something you're doing? Are you going to have to make a decision at some point? And I remember, just deciding that I'm going to do this for 3 years. Literally, I remember 6 months in, I said, I'm doing this for 3 years. I'm going to give it 3 years. And in 3 years, I'll reassess it, because I feel like that's a good amount of time to really try something. Like most people try something once, they quit or whatever the case may be. But I look at how long you've been trying and how many times you attempted. So I told myself to give myself 3 years. And after that 3 years, if it wasn't worth it, then I would stop and I would put all my energy into something else.
Okay.
And that's what happened after 6 months.
So what year was it? Like 2016?
This was 2015. So
this was
podcast wasn't even
2015.
popular.
Right. Podcasting was right at all. It wasn't popular. It wasn't a way. So you're doing something that, people weren't even aware of at this time. So definitely. So what started to make you believe in it, to be like, oh, I want to continue to do this?
I think one of the critical points is I went and got a mentor. I knew I needed to learn more. I needed to get beyond my bedroom. I was only going to learn this much. And luckily, I had a pretty good network. I called one of my good friends, Bruce, for Wolf Wireless. If y'all seen me, y'all probably seen him around.
Bruce? Yeah.
And I remember calling him. I would just, like I said, I'm really, self-help teaches me things, and mentorship is one of the big things that's necessary in growth. So I said, I need a mentor. And he was like, I know there's one guy with a radio show on this like little network, So I said, I'll meet him. And I ended up meeting the dude. To come to find out, he happened to be the owner of the station. And I told him, I remember I met with him on a Tuesday, and I told him, when I found out he was the owner, my eyes lit up. I said, I will clean the studio once a week if you let me hang out with you. And he like busted up, started laughing, looked at me. He was like, all right, show up Tuesday. And I showed up for Tuesday for 2 years, for every 2 years, moving forward. But he taught me so much about how to put together, how to run a station, and I got to learn from him and see the mistakes he made as well, and see things that I would do differently. But that experience and him mentoring me was probably one of the most critical, points in my whole career, honestly.
Shouts out to Danny Cakes. She said, I'm going to send y'all the Podfather clips.
Yes, come on, Danny, give us those.
On the
we like the posts.
Bring them out. Yeah.
we want to see it, because we know, and I mean 2015 was what, 5 years ago, and to think about then and then all that you've accomplished in those 5 years, when you said, okay, by year 3 this is what I need to do. So by 2018, like, what had you established at that 3-year mark?
So at the 3-year mark, a few things happened over those years. One, when I got to mentorship, I used to be Controversial Keith. That was my first stage name. People don't know that. I was trying to be my best, after switching from self-help, I was trying to be Charlemagne for some reason. Just because what people do, they copy the people they see. So anyways, I was able to learn that wasn't me. And then I was able to, one day I decided to buy my own equipment. I think that was huge. And no BS, man. Ask my dad. Like I went down, so I said, Dad, I need to build my own studio because I need to practice. I need a place where I can actually get better on my own without having to depend on somebody else. And we went down in that basement. We went down in that den. He was like, well, you can move this treadmill around, you can move this stuff around and, create a little space. And I did. And I remember spending $800 that I did not have. I was struggling to pay rent. I was living with my dad. I was struggling to pay him rent. And I remember literally no BS, like rolling up like coins and like quarters to get my first set of microphones. And it's been like, now I've been in for like a year at this point, I never bought any equipment. And, I bought my first piece of equipment. I still, that very first recording I did with Devontae, actually was my best friend. I was like, man, let me just try this stuff. And it was called Radio Chronicles. And then, I just kind of kept going from there. I put the stuff together, and then I just said, I'm going to start a show called the Good News Radio Show because I knew it had a ring to it. And it was a time where it was so much BS going on. I felt like people needed some good news. So, I just kind of went with it. That was it. And it was on Facebook Live.
It's so interesting to me that you said, I'm going to do this for 3 years
Yeah.
and then I'll reassess. I think that that's a word in itself because a lot of times we'll do something and then something don't work out or something don't go our way and then we just quit. But if you say, I'm going to commit for a certain period of time, then what you're saying is, regardless of what happens, I'm still doing this.
Yeah. I think it comes down to people not having like, it's like, what's a real try, And I feel like I asked myself that question, like, what's a real try? And I feel like trying something for 3 years is a real attempt. So,
It sure is.
That's interesting because a lot of people say they want to do stuff, right? But maybe they're interested, but they're not committed, right? And there's a very big difference between committing to something and trying, that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I was substitute
That's the word.
teaching
I
at the
think
time.
now what I'm going to do, like when I say that I'm trying something, I'm going to give myself a time frame because it's easy because, when stuff happens, you're like, well, that's a sign. Maybe I just shouldn't do it or it's just not for me. But
you got to give it that effort over time too, because I always say just being in something. Like I know people who've been doing radio longer than me, that I met on the way up, asking for some help and a handout. And now, I surpassed them, just as far as career wise, because it's not just about being in it for a certain amount of time. It's striving forward over time. You don't want to be in the same spot over 3 years. So once we had, built the Good News, the radio show, a good enough name, one thing that we did, we was out in the streets. You can ask Jackie, we was out in the streets. Like, man, like we did shows on the corner of anywhere, Venice, we was outside, man, we did every party we can find. We did the LA Marathon. We did every event we could be at. We was there. So we put a lot of footwork in around the city to get our name out there. And that doesn't go, really, I don't think people really know how much footwork we did to actually get our name out there. For real.
Wow. So thinking about that, so early on, so you mentioned that you all, once you got out of doing it by yourself and you kind of reconfigured things and then you got to the Good News radio show, who was originally a part of that? I know Jackie kind of touched on it from their episode when we talked with Ladies Night. So now we want to hear from your perspective. What was early on the Good News radio show?
So early on was just me, I was doing everything. And here's the crazy part. I wasn't even actually on the radio. It was just Facebook Live. It just looked like I was on the radio. This is real talk. Let me tell you how I was playing the game. So I just had a Facebook Live show. I wasn't on no internet wave. I wasn't on no streaming service. All that didn't exist, So I was just literally, my whole show was Facebook Live. And this was Facebook Live had just kind of hit the street. So it was it was hot, So that was it. I would just had a mic and I was in front of Facebook Live. And I didn't even have no actual stream or nothing. So, I did that for like 30 shows and it started picking up traction. And by this time I've been doing radio for about a year and a half or whatever. So people start to know this guy, he do actually kind of do this, So it started picking up traction and everybody wanted to be on the show now. And I was like, I need help. I need help. And then I remember interviewing 3 people and Jackie was one of the people I interviewed. And Jackie just set herself apart, from many different ways. Like she like made me like this little digital thing and sent it to me. It's like, what you think about this? Like, she just showed initiative, and I was like, yo, like Jackie is like, that's it. Like, just that she understands initiative. And it was literally the best choice one of the best choices I've made since I started my whole journey was, bringing Jackie in, to partner with me on this. And she has not disappointed, at all. She's been literally the other part of this, the reason why it is where it's at now. There's no way we would be this far, without Jackie since she first, stepped in, which is around. I was on show like 38 or something like that. So I've been doing it for a few months already.
And
Yeah.
shouts out to Jackie Jacks because she is in the chat. She said, yep, rain or shine. If we said we were going to do the event, we did it. And I was watching his Facebook Live every Friday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we were doing twice a week too, by the way. We were doing every Monday and Friday. And we did that for 2 years out of my dad's basement, every Monday and Friday. And we never missed a show. And the only reason why we did twice a week is because everybody else was doing once a week. So I figured that was it. That was the only reason. There was no other, and I was still at the social hour, like I said, with my mentor every Tuesday. So I was on Monday night, Tuesday night, and Friday night. I'm on the air 3 times a week.
That is amazing. So literally you was like, oh, y'all doing once? Oh, okay. I'm gonna see you once and I'm gonna bring you twice.
I'm gonna raise you a day.
Yeah. And that's because I had a kid. I had a kid at Peyton. She was younger. And I knew that I gave myself a time limit. So I wanted to get as far as I could in a certain amount of time. I said, okay, if I do once a week, I'll have 50 shows of experience by the end of the year. But if I do twice a week, I have 100 shows of experience. I'll be like twice as head. Like, it's really like I'm moving twice as fast in half the time. Yeah. So it's like, let's get it. Like, let's get it. So that was the philosophy anyways.
That makes sense.
So when did you feel like, okay, so it sounded like at some point you were getting overwhelmed with people who wanted to be a part. So then you said, hey, I need help. You find Jackie. Great find.
Great
big find of Jackie.
3-pointer from the
big
fucking
fan of Jackie.
Oh my God, half court shot, splash. Game winner.
Lotus also said, shouts out to Jack. She is the bomb. Yes, Keith and Jackie together are unstoppable. Absolutely. But when did you think like, okay, like what was the development? Like take us through the major milestones and what signaled to you that it's time for me to move or grow?
When people start packing my dad's house out and on Monday nights, and we used to have to move these 2 couches. And shout out to Robbie D, Dash as well, because they were all part of the team. Cinnamon, she was part of the team, during that time, and Kev.
Sound like a stripper.
Wait, what? Cinnamon.
But that's really her name, yeah. She's one of the best people that we've ever been able to, everybody. You already know how we choose people. So but. Yeah, I had a team of 7 people in my dad's basement on the production of this show.
So a live show.
Oh, your live show.
So your dad let all of these blanks in his house,
right? All the kids.
And I tell my dad, man, shout out to him because my dad was always like, "Look, if you chasing your dream, I'm never gonna stop you." You know what I'm saying? And I know that you out here after I see you. I see you working hard, so I'm gonna let you do what you do. But I knew that I was starting to wear out the welcome. Because
right, dad, like, your friends need to go home now.
Right, because it's Monday night and people come here for them. It's a show, it's a hangout, it's a good time, you know. And I'm like, all right, it's Monday, it's 10 o'clock. Y'all kind of gotta bounce at this point, gotta go to sleep, So I just at a point, so many people start coming to the house, ringing the doorbell at 9 o'clock at night because they showing up late to the show, everything, To the point I was like, all right, like we actually stopped and telling people they couldn't come no more. I was like, we can't do that until we get out of here. And
so you outgrew it.
Yeah, we outgrew the fishbowl. We outgrew the fishbowl. And I didn't know how. And I remember, this is the crazy thing. I remember you can ask Jack, I remember promising the team, like it was this grand thing, like, man, one day we're gonna have a studio. I promise y'all one day. And just how I tell y'all about, like, man, I'm telling you, we're gonna be here one day, we're gonna do this. It's like the same conversation I'm having when I was in that basement. Like, that never has left, And for a lot of people, it's whatever, they got 2 studios now, but nah, man, like in that basement, it was like inconceivable, And I was just telling everybody, one day I promise we're gonna get out of here. and we did.
Mhm.
We
But
got out of there,
you
late
manifested it.
2017. Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely manifested it. You spoke it and you believe that this is what's going to happen. And here we are with 2 studios and a
And I
network
realized to
of
try
shows.
others. I
Mhm.
think what I came to the realization that, you know what, if I, like, people were asking me like, man, how do I start my own show? Like I
Mhm.
said, podcast wasn't as popular as it is now. So people were starting to get into it. They recognize that they can have a voice and do things. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's when if you want to go, far, you gotta bring others with you. And I was like, you know what? I can build something for other people who don't have, an outlet. This before Spotify and Apple Podcasts was booming, and yeah, I just did it. I literally just pulled the trigger, and man, when I say I pulled the trigger, literally I had to borrow money from my mother. My dad let me skip. This is the only way we got in the studio because my mom let me borrow $1,000. My dad let me skip out on the rent that month, and I had to pull every single dollar I had together. And I remember looking, and I remember it was I remember showing Danielle I had $8 left in my account. Like, look, this is what it's all about. When
Mm.
like it's $8 left, but we in that thing.
Hey,
We in
listen.
that thing. So
Studio is here. It's lit.
we here, man. So it was a beautiful thing.
That's interesting to hear about the sacrifices because, like you said, at this time you did have a baby. Peyton was around, and
Yeah.
so what was that like being a dad and then trying to continue to manifest this dream that you have? Like, how did you balance the two?
Well, I got to give her mom a lot of credit because we do a good job of co-parenting. And when you co-parent, we've always split our time in half. So I maximized on the time that I did not have Peyton. And I chose a specific job where I would be in control of my time. I decided to substitute teach.
Mm-hmm.
And I just figured that would at least allow me to control my time, to a large degree. So I never felt like I had to, give things away. And I knew that if I had built my own, I can always bring Peyton with me. So my whole thing was like, hey, she in the studio with me. I mean, I got numerous of pictures of her in the studio with me, and doing stuff. So Peyton grew up in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like literally with me, right there next to me. On a lot of shows, sometimes she couldn't go to sleep, so I had to hold her. There's been shows where she messed up the show because she in the background crying. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I really, went through those situations, but I said, you know what? I'm still doing my thing, and that's all that matters. If it's a bad show, so what? It's gonna be one of those bad shows that I talk about later. But I always wanted to make it so that my daughter can come with me, and to this day, that's what it is. Any place I need to be, Peyton or Cameron can be with me. That's how I wanted it to be.
Mm. I love it. Love to see it.
Yeah.
That is it's so funny story, like side story. My son had a basketball game this weekend, and one of the coaches for a different team, we were just watching the game. He had his baby. This baby was like 6 months, like a little baby. And he's coaching with the baby, like the entire game, like coaching with the baby in his hand. And I'm just like, wow, like black
Yeah.
dads are so cool.
Man,
Yeah.
shouts out to the black dads.
Yes, but I love to
Specifically the
hear it.
millennial black
There we
dads.
go. But it was crazy. But that's beautiful. And that's definitely something that Peyton and both Cameron will look back to be like, wow, my dad worked so hard. And you're instilling that work ethic in both of them too. So you'll definitely see it come back as
Yeah.
they grow older.
Because I think a lot of people will say, I can't do this because I
Mm-hmm.
have kids, or I
Mm-hmm.
can't do this because I have this, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily just kids, but it could be whatever this is. But you're like, I got to do it because I have this. You know what I mean? Because I have kids. I have to do this because I need her to see that dad's going to get his dream.
And
And
you got to
you know
answer to
what?
your kids later in life. Like they're
Mhm.
gonna be like, you don't want to tell them, yeah, I would have made all this happen, but I had you. Like that's not a
Right.
good feeling.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I gave it all. I sacrificed everything for you. Like,
That's
damn.
awful.
But
Like,
that's what parents often say is,
Yeah.
I sacrificed
yeah.
everything because of you.
And that's not a
Like
good
that's
feeling.
some noble thing to do.
Right.
No,
Right.
Not
Like,
don't
right.
make me feel
why?
like I'm the reason why you're not
Yeah,
successful.
not because of me. Why did you
Like,
sacrifice everything because you want it better for me? Like not
Right.
in spite of
Right.
me, but because I made you want to push harder. Like that's why you had to sacrifice.
So it's gonna be the reason why you do it or the reason why you don't. That's up to
Uh-huh.
you.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
but you
and
know what?
then,
You get to choose, and it's all about how you play it, right? It could be
yeah,
the reason why or the reason why not. They both
yeah.
work.
Hmm.
They both work.
They
They
both
both
work.
work.
Yeah.
So, have you done anything entrepreneurial before this?
Yes, I spent 3 years in multi-level marketing. Uh, prior to
Sometimes
this.
I think we're the same person. I swear to God. Sometimes I'll be like, please tell us about this. What were you selling?
Um, so I was selling. It was called Vima. It was a supplement and alternative to energy drinks. So the healthy alternative to those. It was really good. It was really big in the college market because those are the people who were drinking that stuff. So it was very easy to sell as far as that's concerned, but really easy to build on to the opportunity. And I have to say that I got pretty far in the opportunity to where I was able to earn one of the BMWs. I was
Wow.
making about, yeah, if you look at some of my old pictures, yeah, I was driving a drop top BMW. I was making about $4,000 a month on my own. And, it was cool because it was all passive income and it was a lot of work. And I think that's probably where I really got the most personal development in my life. And before that, I was actually running intramural programs. I love sports, so hence why we have a sports station. But I really love sports, so I always say if I wasn't doing what I'm doing today, I'd be coaching football without a doubt. I know that I'd be doing that, but um, yeah, that's what I was doing for 3 years. And man, that was a real experience. And that's why I have no problem flying to Milwaukee, to help y'all. Because I'm so used to I was doing it. I was flying to Oklahoma. I was flying to New York. I was flying to Atlanta. I was flying around, building a business, and so that let me know what it takes to actually build something. And that's why I take a lot of that same philosophy and that same work ethic and I apply it to what we're doing now.
Hmm. Wow. It
Absolutely.
definitely seemed like it paid off because that is like anytime we've called, there hasn't been a time where we've called you, like FaceTimed you or whatever, like we need help. You like stop and make sure
Yeah.
that you help us. And I'm sure any of the other shows could probably attest to that as well, to be like, yeah, you definitely.
I'm looking for at this point, like I know at this point, like I'm always on like every single show. Like it's probably sounding crazy about it, but like every single show I'll be listening to, at least for a certain like the other show, like Profane Nation, they were on mute. They didn't even know they were on mute. I'm
Mm-hmm.
texting them, y'all on mute. So I'm always listening to make sure that everybody has the best outcome. That's what it's about. And it's about 40, give or take, on our network. When I was doing multi-level marketing, I have a team of 450 people around the nation, so that was a whole different situation.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, we were like, so there's a pandemic. Maybe you don't want to come now. You're like, F that pandemic.
I
I'll be there
swear.
Monday. Y'all coming to get me or do I need to Uber? Like,
That is
okay,
funny.
what
Hey,
else?
get it done, man.
Yes, but like he said, like he said it earlier on, like when he has an idea or he wants to do something, like he's pulling the trigger. Like I don't know how I'm gonna pay for it right now, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
And we've seen you do that both times you came to Milwaukee. The first time we was like, first of all, we don't even know him. Like, who is he? He wants to stay at our house. Like, we gotta pick him up. Like, we don't know him. So that was really funny. And you was just like, nah, we coming. We gonna do this whole weekend thing. And we just like,
Yeah,
what?
we did it. And we did it though. And we did it.
Yes.
But that's why we did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you said I'm coming. So then it was like, and you know what's funny is I actually had a lot of things going on
Yes.
that time and I
No,
literally
yes,
couldn't do it. But I was like, but we got to figure it out now because he's coming.
Yeah. At that point, we had to figure it out.
And I think that that's what it's all about. Will Smith has a quote that he says, and there's actually a guy who strung together a bunch of quotes that Will Smith did, because y'all know in my head, Will Smith is my mentor.
Hey.
And what he said is there's redemptive power in making a decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at first, that didn't mean that much to me. But as I reflect over my life and look at the things that, not only I was able to accomplish, but other people, right? It's because they first decided to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, once you decide, then you figure it out. But people want to figure it out, then decide. But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't. And I think that that's why a lot of people get stuck in saying what they want to do or what they wish to do or what they hope to do one day. You know what I mean? But it's like they keep deciding that they're literally deciding that one day is not today.
Yeah.
Every time when they say that, they're literally picking that today ain't it.
Every time.
Every single time.
Every time. And it's like, Jim Rohn said, what day you want your life to change? It don't matter. Just pick a day on the calendar, because it's truly up to you.
It's up to you.
And a lot of times the only thing that stops us is fear.
Yeah.
And I always say it ain't always fear of like failure. It's fear of the responsibility of success. Like, what did you do become super successful? Like, what if you do start making $100,000 a year off your podcast? Like, that's going to like, damn, like now that's the responsibility of that comes with it. So, I think that sometimes that's what stops people from getting to the next level. I know that's what stopped me in my past business. I self-sabotage.
Tell us
And
more on that. This is tea
Yeah,
time.
that is good.
We'd like an example, please.
Because that's definitely my defense mechanism is self-sabotage.
like almost like imposter syndrome. Like, do I deserve to be up here? Like, who do I think I am?
Who do I think I am?
Yeah, like really, like, who do I think I am? And I wasn't ready at that time to accept myself, you know what I mean, for who I was. And, you find yourself in a foreign place. It's foreign, you know. Even Nipsey kind of got a line that talks about, like it feels strange being up here, you know what I mean? It's foreign. Like I didn't think I would be this far. I didn't think I would get this high. So, Darren Hardy, if people don't know who he is, they should check him out. He wrote this book called The Compound Effect. And he talks about your thermometer. Like, if you make a whole lot of money, that shit actually scares you. It actually scares people to have a lot of money, to the point where they say, I don't even want a lot of money. I just want enough. Because too much scares them. It brings fear. So literally we stop ourselves from abundance just out of fear of not knowing what to do with it. And that's because we don't spend enough time thinking about what we would do with success. We don't spend enough time thinking about ourselves in that situation. And the situation you think yourself into is what becomes your reality. So if you don't see yourself, you're never going to get there. If you don't see yourself there, it's never going to happen. So vision is powerful. Vision is powerful. And it got to a point where I couldn't see myself going any higher. So I got scared. I said, I need to bring myself down. So I started doing things intentionally to bring myself down. I started becoming worried for no reason. I started, thinking people were going to stab me in the back. I started worrying about stuff that wasn't even happening, and I started kind of bringing myself down. And, and that cost me. I started being way more closed off. I started trusting people less. And that's just because I was in a foreign place.
So what place were you in that you sabotaged?
The place I was in, it was, so at the time it was considered something to be like a star platinum person. So a person that star platinum will make anywhere from like $5,000 to $7,000 a month.
This is back with the multi-level marketing.
Yeah, with the multi-level marketing. I had got to a place, like I said, I'd never made that kind of money before. And I was having a blast doing it. It doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? But it happened so fast that I didn't grow out to where it was. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't mature enough. I didn't have, the knowledge that I have now. So I think that it just came earlier. I think it's like if you see a lot of these, basketball players, they go into the NBA or whatever and they get money fast and then they end up broke because they don't have any knowledge of what to do at that point. And I was one of those people. I spent money on Louis Vuitton shoes and I was buying, $300 shades, just because like I thought it was always, and I wasn't even rich. But I like the feeling. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not making no pros.
That's true. So like $5,000 a month, yeah.
You was being You was being Willie beaming.
Willie beaming. For me, it was like it's more than I had made and my expenses was low. And I was making it on my own. So it just felt different. But yeah, and I ended up putting myself in a lot of debt, over that because I tried to keep up a lifestyle that I once had, and it literally retracted. It was like a real situation. I fell into a depression after that, and that's what made me go into life coaching, thus going into this. So all this is from a depression.
Wow. That is so interesting.
Like healing that was the way for you to kind of heal yourself. Yeah. Wow.
So you were in a depression. What does that look like? So number one, shouts out to Willis Cooks because he came on again with us last week because we had to have him come back.
He the truth, man. He the truth, man. That's why he's here. He's the truth.
Hey, he's the truth. Yeah. But we don't often hear Black men talking about depression. So what did that look like for you? How does that show up in Keith's life?
It showed up for me like I hope the feds ain't listening, but to the point like I had to get like I'm just gonna say that I didn't have the BMW no more. You know, that was that came bam out of here. Like, oh, I lost my car.
Mm.
You know, and then I had to move out of my 3-story townhouse I was living in. I had to move back with my pops. Another big
Oh,
slice of humble pie.
by
You
yourself? You
know,
was living in townhouse by yourself?
no, I was living with my cousin and one of my best friends,
Oh, okay.
my daughter's goddaughter. But like I said, we was living like kings. Like we had like a big ass, everybody was straight, So, all that together just felt good. And I had, I felt like, income now is always gonna come in. But,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, when I lost all those things, literally, man, it was bad, man. I was like smoking shake. Like I don't know if y'all know what shake is, but shake is like the bad part of the weed. Like it's out in California, like it was like, I was like I didn't have any money
Mm.
to the point where I was like going to like, hey dad, like I'm short on the rent type situation. I didn't have a job.
Mm.
And then this was the worst part was the social anxiety because all these people are used to me being up here and they calling me, hitting me up, and I don't have the same attitude that I had as when they used to talking to me. So now I'm avoiding people. I'm staying inside. I'm not going out nowhere. I'm crusty. I'm not shaving. I'm not doing my hair. I don't know what's going. I'm lost. I don't know what to do now. I gave all my energy and time to this. I have nothing I'm after. There's nothing. There's nothing that I've sunk my teeth in yet. I have no goals. I have no ambition. I don't know where to go, and I have this child.
Mm.
So I was just deep into it. I didn't know what to do. And, I to the point where, let me tell you how bad it got. I was, I was the concession man at the USC football game. I was going around, literally, I was the guy with the BMW and the Michael Kors watch with the Louis Vuitton shoes and the belt. Now I'm wearing a red shirt and a red hat at the USC football game talking about popcorn. Give me popcorn. Right, a big bowl of humble liar. Like it really
Humble
came.
pie.
And I had to do
Wow.
that. I had to do that because I didn't have no money. I had to do it. I'm doing little side gigs for this thing called Corner Bakery. I got this big backpack on and I'm going out sampling lemonade with the Corner Bakery hat, walking through the street. Hey, you want some lemonade? And I'm just lemonade all on my hands. I'm sticky. Like I had to do that with a master's degree.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? After being on this high traveling around, now to having to literally been a popcorn guy at the USC football game. Like I was that low. That's how bad it was.
Mm.
And that's what I was going through.
Wow.
Wow.
It's deep.
That's a lot.
That is
That's
a lot
whole lot
to hear that.
But I think that just goes to show, just, like you said, it's not about getting things. It is about sustaining it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in order to sustain it, you have to elevate yourself, right?
Yeah.
I was listening to something, maybe it was Michael Beckworth, I don't know. But basically they were saying that we want all these things, right? To prove that we're who we think we are.
Yeah.
But we don't realize that you have to level up first to be able to get it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like we want to get it because we want to feel like we're up here, but you actually have to become up here first.
You ain't ready for it yet.
You ain't ready for it yet.
Yeah.
You're premature, so it's inevitable that you're gonna lose it. But I think it goes to show how quickly things can change,
at the drop of a dime,
and that you can start again. So from a point of depression, what I'm hearing you say is that you didn't have purpose.
Yep.
There it is. I knew I had skills. I knew I had degrees. I knew that I would figure it out. And, even the part where I actually, check this out, I actually got offered a full-time job during that time where I didn't have any income to sell solar panels. I knew I had it, I could probably sell. So they called me. I didn't like the first deal. So, they called me. I did the interview. I knew I was going to kill it. And they called me back like, we want to offer you the job. This much commission, you get $1,000 a month. I said, I didn't really want to do the job, mind you. And by the way, I just went from being the guy that said, I'm not working no job to now about to be selling solar panels.
Right.
So, and I was like, nah, I'm cool, and I was like, I can't believe I just let that, I'm stressed out. Why did I let that job go? I should have told them, I ain't got no money. They called me back a week later and said, hey, we like you so much, we'll double your pay and we'll let you do the commission. So they'll give me $2,000 a month plus commission. And I remember I told myself, if I say no to this job, then I can't apply to no other job that's outside of what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I said no to the job. Long story short, I ended up getting a job at the radio station.
Yep.
You know,
Because you wasn't gonna block your purpose. Like, and
couldn't
it
do it.
seems like full circle. Like you, and I feel like everybody we've talked to and we ask them the purpose question, like, what's your purpose? Like, how'd you get to it? Like, it's always a full circle story, like how they came back to their purpose.
Yeah.
Well, you always get what you settle for, right?
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
anything
shit.
that settles always goes to the bottom, right? That's what we posted on our page the other day,
Man.
and I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
That you certainly will always get whatever it is that you settle for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, what you said was, you know what, y'all can offer me 5,000 if you want. Your boy ain't going. It's a no.
I ain't doing
It's
it.
a no
out
for
of
me.
alignment. And
Yeah.
I read a book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
You better shut up, Keith. I'ma come to LA and I'ma slap you. Because you know I got that on Audible.
You know, man, listen,
I almost tried to say, did you see me? I was
yeah,
here.
I saw it now. You were serious. But
Jumped at you.
as I mentioned before, I was at one point I was a tremendous reader. Like I read a lot of books in a short period of time, and I still try to stay on it, but not as much as I used to. But that book talked about drifting, and I knew that I had to be aware of things that were going to cause me to drift, and that job was one of them. If I would have took that job, it would have taken me to a different direction, and I knew in my soul that was taking me out of rhythm, and of the rhythm that I had set for myself. I knew that there was going to be things that challenged me along the way that I had to say no to. There's so much power in saying no as much as there's power in saying yeah. So, one of the things I learned from my time, in MLM was to not allow things to take you off your path, because there's so many good things. It's like only when you're on a diet does somebody come with the donuts. It's like, it's like only when you said you ain't gonna eat no more bread did somebody come with the strawberry cheesecake cake strawberry.
Or only when you fasting do niggas just start handing out bottles of wine. I don't know. It just happened.
It just happened.
That is funny.
So, that's what the challenge is, and that's what I recognize. And I think I had the knowledge, because some people would have made sense. Oh, I'm gonna just take this job, get the bread, and I'm gonna do this on the side. And it's like they start making things make sense. I always say there's things that make sense and things we make sense.
Yes, for sure.
And I could have made it make sense, but I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna make it make sense. So I gotta say no.
You stood on it, and looking forward, that was a great choice. Like, you did what you needed to do.
Thank God, yeah.
So
Amen.
what was the thing where so I too struggled with depression, right? And I did the same thing. I invested heavily in a lot of self-help. I fell in love with Napoleon Hill and a lot of great other greats, Jim Rohn, you know all of them.
My God.
And also Will Smith. Because like I said,
Will Smith got bars, man.
He really does. And so I'm wanting to know, what is the thing for you that clicked, that broke the depression, that said, you know what, I get it. I get that this is, well, do you view depression as a choice?
I don't know if it's a choice. I know that there is a crossroad where you can decide to be done with something or go through the process and the heartache that takes to get through it. And quitting could cause you not to be depressed, but it also cause you to live with much regret, and that is heavy as hell. So I think that when something is challenging, part of that challenge could be depression, so I guess in some degree it is a choice, but for me, what snapped it was when I just made a decision. It came down to not knowing what to do. And you know what happened was I listened to a book called Conversations with God.
Shut up, Keith. Oh yeah, you told. I think you may have given us that one.
And we read,
because we did a whole series on that on the podcast.
I believe it's and then it was the Conversation with God, or maybe it was Abraham Hicks, one of the two.
I'm a big fan.
We could do this all day.
We could do this all day. All day.
But
big
one
fan.
of the things he said, life is not about figuring out what you want to become. It's about deciding who you want to be. And I realized, like, I'm trying to figure out what to do instead of deciding what I want to do. And it was like, boom, like, I can just decide. It don't matter what it is as long as I make the decision instead of trying to, well, what am I? I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out. I need a sign. It's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Just you decide. It's like you can have whatever you want to eat as long as you decide what it is you want to eat. But it's like we go to a restaurant and they say, give me something good. That's what we do.
That's
And
what
we don't like what we get most of the time.
And like Abe would say, you always get what you order. So if
if
you don't know,
nothing,
you're going to get a bunch of stuff that don't make sense, right?
if you don't order nothing, you're not going to get nothing.
If you order nothing, you get nothing. And that's why, again, so for me, like, so, you know, for you, it came with conversations with God. For me, Will Smith just saying the redemptive power of making a decision, like realizing that I'm in control of that.
Yeah.
Realizing that something's not happening to me.
Yes.
Right. Like not being passive, but I can actually be an active participant here and take control of this thing.
You can actually steer, just like Jim Rohn said, it's not the blowing of the wind that determines where you end up, it's the set of the sail.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah.
A whole word right there.
Telling you, man. Telling
you. Wow.
So that was the pivotal moment, and that's what made you say, okay, this is so good. I got to share this.
Yes.
How can I share this? I'll do a podcast. Okay, that's not really a thing. I'm going to do a Facebook Live.
Right. Yep. Yeah, because earlier on, did you call it a podcast? Or because it wasn't really
I just called it a show.
A show.
I called it a radio show, and it looked like I was on the radio, so who's to tell me it wasn't? You know what I'm saying? I had a microphone.
You can't tell me it ain't. I got a mic. I got headphones.
It is what I said it is.
My old shows is me with my microphone, and I'm just talking to the camera. And it's just, that's it. That was it. That was the good news. That was
the headphones ain't even plugged in.
Hey, it's real. Hey, but but I had a mixer and everything, though. And I would have a guest. I would have my phone up high, and my guest would sit next to me, so they'll see us both. Like on Thursday, I'll repost some like super old. I might post them before Thursday. This weekend, don't matter what day it is.
Yeah, there you go. Just do it. You got to decide.
Why do we do that shit? Why do we just follow shit?
Jackie said she was definitely watching that show.
It ain't gotta be Throwback Thursday. Just post it.
But I do want to add, two huge things that has changed, transition from where we are now. I want to give a lot of credit to the team that has helped get here. Ray, as her stint with us.
She is awesome.
Yeah, she is awesome.
I fell in love with her when I came.
Man, and that's what I'm telling you, man. The good news is more so about good people. Anybody who's ever been around me and joined me, I always say, I need you to get what you need out of this. I don't care how long it is. I don't care if you're with us for a year or whatever. I want you to get what you need out of this. This is a vehicle for you to get better, for you to get to where you want to go. That's it. It doesn't matter. Everything is not forever. You know what I'm saying? So, and you just enjoy the experience. So whatever that takes us, and that's what it is, But, Robbie D was a super integral part, especially early on. No way we would have gotten here without him. I mean, he was the one who actually reached. I think y'all was in contact first.
Yeah, he reached out to us. Shouts out to Robbie D.
Yes.
So, I also want to give, a huge shout out to Michael, because as I gave a shout out to TGN Sports, he is a manager at TGN Sports, and he's done, honestly, an incredible job. Like, he really, really takes the cake when it comes to somebody like stepping up, being a leader, taking ownership, taking responsibility. I mean, he really does take the cake when it comes to that, and he steps into that role, and I couldn't ask for a better person to be running that station. I want to give Kirsten, because ever since she came in, I want to give her a big shout out. Ever since she came in, now, she was first just supporting, but she literally, that's a person that's going to show up. Like, no matter how hard the situation is, if it's a challenge, she's going to show up and she's going to
never
do
not
job.
showing up, never not extra, never not showing up, never not 100%.
There we go.
And she goes mad hard. You know what I'm saying? She understands what we're doing here. And I mean, she's probably, I would consider her part of the backbone of what we are now, who we do. When you think about, the network, she's a huge part of it. She's a huge person that somebody would think about. You know what I mean? It's because how active and how much she represents. She reps like no other. So, I just want to give, a shout out to the team, in the retrospect, because, even though I'm on this show, I really couldn't do it without them. Like, what I'm saying? I really couldn't do it all. I can't do it all. And what they do allows me to do what I can do, and it requires a team, and it requires everybody on this network. I'm appreciative of y'all. Y'all don't know how huge y'all have been for not just the network, but for me as a person, what y'all done for me has given me so much confidence. Like y'all have given me the confidence that like, you know, somebody that y'all didn't know from across the you know, like, it's like y'all trust me, you know what I'm saying? And that just gives me mad confidence and continue to do what I do. And it gives me power, you know what I'm saying? That, you know, that y'all have been riding this long and y'all believe in the vision and what we're doing. You know, it's really hard to get people to really buy into what you're doing, you know, and get people to see
Yeah,
it for themselves.
that's true.
And so
I
I
I
really
agree with
appreciate it.
that.
Yeah.
But honestly, you were very decisive about what you were doing.
Yeah.
And other people have asked us to do other things and we have said no. There's
Mhm.
somebody
Yeah.
asking us right now to do some things and you know, it's kind of hanging out there in the inbox. So
But,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But so all
yeah.
people are not created equal, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because everybody is not decisive and everyone's not clear on their vision and what they're looking or what they're aiming to do.
Yeah.
Um, it is 8 o'clock. Oh my God. The time just flies by.
I
So,
swear.
really quick lightning round. We have to do our
Ugh.
to go box. What are we taking away? I'm going to start with you, Bestie.
Man, I feel like every time we all get together, it's all love. I truly feel like this was a great decision that Brunch with Besties made to join forces with the good news. Again, we didn't know y'all from Adam. And I came in like secondary to it. Sherry's like, some people reached out to us and I'm like, okay, like whatever. She's like, you want to call them? I'm like, okay. But then when I found out that you were Sigma, I was like, okay.
That's exactly what happened.
That is exactly how it happened. So I believed in what you stand for. You know, I take it to heart. I take it seriously because you believe so much in the vision, like you said earlier on. And it's you know, you buy into it and we respect it and we value it. So we, as much as you thank us for, you know, helping you and making you, you know, your dream comes clear, you definitely helped us for sure. So that's what I'm taking away. Like just standing firm in the vision and continuing from there.
Keith GoodNews, Podfather, Inspirator. I'm making up words.
Oh, you
What
gotta
goes
make
in
it
your?
up sometime.
You gotta make up stuff. How do you? What goes in your to go box?
Just, you know, just the fact that y'all are in your own studio, you know, I just want to bring I want to bring light to that because y'all, that's not a small thing, you know. And and you can ask Jackie, we literally interview so many you get so many inquiries to be on this network, and we are really very, very picky, and we close the door 90% of the time. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, we're not even accepting right. We're not even talking to people right now, and just, you know, like I said, man, look at what y'all have done. You know what I'm saying? Look at what y'all have done. This is what it's about. This is the point. We can stop, you know, today. Let's say we decide to go separate ways. Like I would be so like just grateful for our time spent there. I don't take it for granted, you know, just to watch y'all grow and build and do what y'all have done. I feel like, you know, our relationship is successful already, you know what I mean? And you know, that's what it was. That was the whole point. So if I could take anything away, like I said, it's just you know, make sure, you know, aligning with the right people, stick to your word, be impeccable with it. You know, that's from a book, but we ain't gonna go over that.
The four agreements. That
The
is
four
from
agreements,
the
that's
four.
right. You know,
Yes.
be impeccable with your word and find the people that's impeccable with theirs. And then when y'all speak, it's a different type of power. And I think that's what we have.
Nice.
Absolutely. And for my takeaway, I mean, I echo all the same sentiments. I said this on our last call, iron sharpens iron. It was just something about you. It was something about the good news. It's definitely something about Jackie, you know,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
we just couldn't say no to. It's easy to say no to some things, you know, but I think that you made it really hard, you know. And also I would add in Robbie D as well.
Yes.
And for some reason, we just believed, you know what I mean?
We
Like,
did.
that's really just what it came down to is we just believed and we just wanted to be a part. And we're thankful and we're grateful that we were able to do so. I think that we have a studio because we came out there and we saw two studios, you know,
Right.
and we were like, dude, we can do this,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, with that whole mindset of, you know, being decisive and making a decision while we were there, it was like, let's book this. Like, let's find
did
some
that.
buildings. Let's book, let's schedule, let's do this now. You know, we didn't have any mics. We had literally
There you
nothing.
go, man.
Yeah.
That's
You
what I'm
know,
talking
but
about, man.
eventually we had a lease. You
Right.
know,
We had the
then
building.
and then it was just an empty spot. You
Y'all
know what
didn't
I
know how
mean?
to work the equipment. Remember, y'all
At
used to have to. Y'all
all.
was
We
paying
had
somebody to
Yeah.
record y'all stuff, man. Now y'all completely self-sufficient and independent. Listen, if you listening out there, if you follow Brunch with Besties podcast story, they used to pay. They used to go to somewhere else, and they used to have to pay. They learned on they did it on their own. They stepped out, you know what I'm saying, on a limb, and they did it, and look where they are now. So for those out there who are really thinking like you can't do something or it's too far-fetched, use them as an example.
Mm.
Use them as an example and see what they have done. They have accomplished. I'm telling you, man, I've seen so many pop. Man, I'm done. I'm done. I have nothing to say.
But honestly, again, like we have a studio because you had two studios,
Absolutely.
you know, so I felt like you demonstrated it for us. And
Mhm.
going, you know, we knew it, but going to see it was a whole vibe. It was a whole experience. And then, you know, when we came to your dad's house and you was like, I recorded right here. This is what I did. And then they would come, they would sit here. It just became real, and it became something that we must do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, you have your must do's and you have your like to do's, right?
Tony
And this
Robbins.
became a must do. That's
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, right?
I know.
So-
Yeah, boy.
Like I
We'll
said,
talk
we
later.
can do this all day, right? But we are over time. Thank you so very much for tuning in with us. We will catch you every Monday morning and Wednesday morning on
Yeah.
Monday
Yeah.
mornings
Here we go.
Yeah.
With
With
Keith
Keith.
Good News. Okay.
at 10 a.m. our time, which is 8 a.m. your time,
Yeah.
Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central Standard
10:30, y'all.
10:30,
10:30. There we go.
10:30.
10:30 and 8:30.
10:30. 10:30 and 8:30.
We don't get the times
Right.
together.
We working on it.
But on the new app, you ain't got to worry about it. So
You
Right.
gotta worry about a new app. You gotta worry about a new app. You gotta worry about it.
Shoot. All righty. So thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties podcast.
Until next time,
peace.